Coming up on America's Hope, we talked to Bailey Chase about the new film that he's in, Homestead. It's produced by Angel Studios. America's Hope starts now.
This is America's Hope from our global headquarters in New York City. Here's Kelly Wright.
Hello everyone, I'm Kelly Wright and welcome to a brand new hour of America's Hope. We're glad that you could stop by and listen. Wherever you are, I sincerely hope that you're safe and well, taking care of yourself and your family because you matter. Speaking of what matters in terms of family, if you're faced with the end of the world, well, chances are your family matters. What are you going to do to save them? What are you going to do to protect them? What are you going to do to free them from any tyranny that's coming against you? There's a new film that's out. It starts December 20th. It'll be in theaters near you. It's produced by Angel Studios. It's called Homestead. And Homestead is about the post-apocalyptic world, the end of the world as we know it. And what the film reveals is what we go through as human beings, how we hurt, hinder, or help each other at times of dire straits, at times of despair. Can we find hope? Tonight we're going to talk to Bailey Chase. He's one of the stars in the Angel Studios production Homestead, which will also be turned eventually into a series. He'll be talking to us. And then later on in the program, we're going to talk to an Off Broadway producer and director. Kevin Davis will stop by to talk about Broadway World nominating his production as the best musical off Broadway. Let's get started. Welcome everybody to America's Hope. I'm joined by a very important guest for right now. He's got a brand new film that's coming out with Angel Studios. Bailey Chase is joining us, and just to give you a quick rundown on Bailey's bio. He was born in Chicago but moved to Florida after his parents divorced at a young age. He attended Duke University on a football scholarship, and I was probably cheering you on when you played against UNC and all of those other places in the Research Triangle.
I love it. Wow, we are fast friends, my man. Thank you, Kelly. That's what an introduction. And now I live in the state of North Carolina. We moved back to my wife's hometown 3 years ago. Haven't looked back to LA much, and man, that Duke Carolina rivalry has not missed a beat.
You know, you can't go wrong when you live in North Carolina. That is quite a state, especially in the Research Triangle area. And you went to Duke, man. I've got some good friends who attended Duke, and now they're over. One is a chaplain for the NFL team, the Los Angeles Chargers. But enough about that. Let's talk about your new film, Homestead, which is coming out December 20th. It's just in time for Christmas. It's an apocalyptic film or a post-apocalyptic film. I want you to talk to me about that and how you got involved in this, because you've done so many things. You've worked with so many different people. We'll get into some of that as we go on. What's different about this film, Homestead?
Yes, sir. Well, the movie starts off with a bang. And that sets everything into motion. And gosh, I've been asked, we did LA, Salt Lake, and then Nashville premiere last night. And I've been asked this question quite a bit the last week. What brought you to Homestead? And I had another canned answer, but something struck me last night, and I spoke to the live audience in the Q&A afterwards that, the simple answer is God. He's got his hands all over this project. We went down the line with all the actors. Everybody's got their own unique story. People couldn't help but be a part of this project, and they fought to be a part of it. And for me, there was a Hollywood strike going on. We didn't think anything was happening. We took a family vacation down to the beach down in South Carolina. It was my in-laws' 50th wedding anniversary, and they asked me to audition. And I was in a house with 8 kids under the age of 10. So as you can imagine, going to a quiet corner of the house to put something on my iPhone was not an option. And I respectfully declined. And they're like, well, how about tomorrow? I was like, no, tomorrow's not looking good either. How about next week? they're like, well, we need you in Utah next week. And again, the big man, he had a plan all along. I didn't know what it was, but I was on a plane days later going to Utah, and I have not looked back. I love working out in Utah. It's a great group of people, and I'm really excited about Homestead. I'm not going to say it's a perfect movie, but it's the right film at the right time.
Look, you can't go wrong when you actually contemplate your next move by consulting with God.
Yes, sir.
He seems to direct our steps, and whenever we allow him to do that, it always turns out right. But let me give a breakdown of Homestead based on the way Angel Studios gave it to me. I want to be fair to what they've talked about, and it's about a movie that, as the world crumbles inside, the people living at Homestead face resource wars and ideological conflicts, while outside chaos reigns. And through all this mayhem, it seems that some of the tangible things like unity and truth is forgotten, and then these truths emerge as love grows in this unexpected, tense environment. And it's about community survivability and adaptability. But more importantly, I think what people will see in this film, Bailey, is a hope that prevails.
Yeah, that's right, and it's certainly not really my character can't take credit for it. But yeah, the movie starts out with a bang. People flee to the Rocky Mountains. There is an actual 300-acre homestead that was our location there, right outside of Salt Lake. It's so beautiful. But my guy shows up. My job as former military DEA is to protect the homestead with my other military guys. There's another lead, Neil McDonough, who is the rich owner of the homestead, and we sort of have competing agendas. And it's really interesting to watch these alpha males navigate each other with such high stakes. But then his wife in the movie, played by Dawn Olivieri, she really brings it home. And I've seen the film a handful of times now, and the ending never fails to get me. And as much as you want to do what we want to do, again, there's a bigger plan. And if we put our faith in God, and we trust his work, the right thing is going to happen. So for America, I can't wait for everyone to see this film. Again, I feel like we need something to bring us together right now, and hopefully they enjoy the journey of Homestead.
I want to unpack what you just said, because America needs a lot of glue to bring it together. And we talk about faith, hope, and love. And I like to say that hope is the glue that brings us together past ideological lines, political lines, racial lines, even religious lines. It brings us together. And the character you play, what's going on through his head, and as you're preparing for it, how did it affect you in looking at the bigger picture?
Yeah. So again, just Cliff Note versions. My primary job is to protect my family and the families in the homestead, and there are threats coming in. So we got to have conflict in the movie, right? And then Neil's character is preservation of all of the supplies, because we don't know, if the world is ever going to get back to where it is. So the highest stakes possible. And then Dawn's character, she literally says, is this a fortress or is it an ark? And so the audience and everyone in the homestead is going to have the moral dilemma. Do we keep ourselves safe, or do we do the godly thing and help those in need? And, we got left, right, red, blue. I don't care your side or your color, but you can't really argue with the message of this film. And, we're trying to bring a catalyst to bring people home. Neil even has that line, and that's his answer to the question, this is our home. And if I may just bring it full circle even a little bit more, some of my best friends in the world, 30 years now from college, and my kids are 8 and 10, but they started earlier, and their kids are now. So we went back to a basketball game at Duke a couple weeks ago, And, I get to see their children, and we're having real adult conversations. At 8 and 10, that's a different conversation from a college freshman or sophomore or junior. And it's so cool to see that and have these conversations with my best friend's children, and them to kind of go down memory lane when they see my younger kids. And yeah, that's my goal, working with Angel Studios, just try to put a positive message out there, something that a whole family can sit down and watch together, and then have real conversation afterward.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because we can talk about Homestead, the film, Angel Studios, and the fantastic work that's coming out of Angel Studios, as you know, and you're part of that now. It's indelible. You're there. You're contributing, and you're helping it to become even better and greater as they continue to do great work. Having said all that, what you got into, I think, is really where we are as a nation. And really, if you think about it, Bailey, around the world, people just want to break out of silos, man, and start talking to each other. When you look at all the conflict that's going on in the world, and Homestead kind of captures that. I don't want to give the film away, but even in the trailer, you can see it kind of captures that. And to your point, you were saying, is this an arc? or and really, realistically, I think people are looking for an arc of hope where they can actually run to that and sit down, like you just talked about, with your friend, to break bread together and talk to each other about what matters most, and that's your family. And that's what this film talks about: protecting your family, protecting the community, and thereby trying to make up your I'm talking for you. You talk to me, please.
100%. And being a father, and that's the whole thing. Something, an accident happens with my son in the film. And so there I am imagining the worst possible thing that could happen to your son. And as you feel like you failed as a father. And so as an actor, that's a really interesting thing to play. And in many ways, this is hands down the favorite performance of my career, because the stakes are so hard and you get to lean into those flaws. And as men of age, we have less ego and more humility about ourselves, and have no shame in giving credit where credit's due. And it's been, weight has been lifted off my shoulders. And as we talked right before we started rolling, my wife and I moved our 3 young kids from LA to the mountains of North Carolina 3 years ago. And it's just, I'm just surrounded by such a strong community. And that's really the goal of Homestead. We want to get back to that. We want to get back to community, be there for your neighbor.
You're watching America's Hope. I'm coming back with more of Kevin Davis next.
Everyone wondered how the world ended.
We got hit.
Does the sun
America's just been attacked.
go on shining? But this is the story of how it began.
Los Angeles has been struck by a bomb.
Hold your breath. Hold your breath.
It might be nuclear.
I saw this.
So what?
We never come back.
After today, our lives will never be the same.
We have looting and widespread panic.
Hey!
Daddy has a place for us to go. We'll be together.
The city's on fire.
There's a guy, been planning for the big one. Called a few months back, needs security people.
What is this place?
Welcome to Homestead. Your guys have to learn how to farm.
We grow our food. We raise our animals. Can you handle yourself with a gun?
This might be the most prepared location in the Rockies. Everyone's gonna want in. And I mean everyone.
My family's out here, and we're starving to death.
I wish we could help, but we can.
You can or you won't.
Our kids need us to be strong.
Please.
People are gonna die at this gate.
They're trespassers. The hills.
They're stealing your grain. They've cut off your solar power.
We need a world where people help strangers, not shoot at them. Sometimes we think we're doing the right thing and then it all goes wrong.
It's the end of the world.
It's time for you to take full control. It's complicated.
Do you think that you're above the law? Do you think that the rules aren't for you?
Is this an ark or is this a fortress?
It's our home.
It's the end of the world.
Look, the film also, Homestead also depicts leadership and how leadership evolves. What type of leadership do you see evolving in this kind of dramatic film that's post-apocalyptic? Is it a servant leadership?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, as an actor, you try to get into the mindset and the heart of that specific character. And so Jeff Erickson, my guy, he's very justified in acting the way that he does, and he's at a 10, as he should be when everybody else is not. And Neil's pretty close to a 10. And John eventually gets there, but he's the prepper who's preserving, I'm protecting, and she's all about love and faith. And I think we know who's going to win that battle at the end. So you have all of these different leaders coming together, and it just creates a beautiful story of conflict. And then the movie will end, and then there's also going to be a series that will launch on angel.com right after, and that will pick up where the movie ends.
Yeah, are you excited about the series as well? Because it's one thing to do a movie, but then you get into a series, and I think a lot of people will be watching this series very closely after they see the movie itself, because it will just lead them in, saying you've got to watch Homestead. I can see people doing that now. Have you checked out Homestead? You got to watch it. And you're an ex-beret in this film, is that right?
Yeah. So Jeff
Beret.
is former Green Beret, operator, many tours under his belt, DEA, CIA. So he's been around, and So for me, I love all my roles. I mean, or else I wouldn't do them. But when you get to play one of our heroes, it just ups the stakes, and I really want to get it right. And what's different about Jeff is this is a guy, instead of being that cliche war hero who has it all together, he's barely hanging on. And so it's the humanity of it all that I think the audience will connect with most. Be like, I see what that guy's going through. I can relate, and I want to go on this journey with these guys.
Well, you said it best, and I think the word that I hear coming out of that is that Jeff's character is gritty. There's grit, there's heart, there's soul, there's blood, there's treasure. That a man who's been through a lot, seen a lot, and now you're touching upon it more. But as you stated, Homestead also touches on other themes like unity, love, and forgotten truths. And what I like about those three themes is that America is right there at a crossroads with its own identity crisis, where we're sometimes scratching our heads looking at each other and saying, who are we now? And do you think Homestead will help us look at ourselves in the mirror and say, oh, that's who we are. That's the American I dreamed of.
I do. And the movie, if you think about it this way, is essentially it's the pilot, because during the strike when we had to shoot and all the things, Angel Studios went through all the hoops to get the unions in Hollywood to allow us to make this movie. So the movie is essentially the pilot, and then the series is going to pick up right there. So we get started on all the things you're talking about, but only so much can be resolved in 2 hours. And like when you watch the first episode of a TV show, you want more, and then it gets better. And then with Homestead, it's going to get worse. The situation's going to get worse before it gets better. So we're going to unpack more and more as we get through the first season and on to the second, just like any other great series that you've been a fan of.
Yeah, Billy, another question about the film. It's Homestead. It's produced by Angel Studios. You did it right there in Utah. It's coming out to screens nationwide, December 20th, just in time for Christmas. It's post-apocalyptic. But within your character, within your role, you have a lot of physical demands on you. Did you see your character having an emotional breakthrough as well as a spiritual breakthrough?
Jeff goes from barely holding it together to being a 100% believer in miracles by the end of the film. And that's the journey that I can't wait for y'all to go on. And that's it. You said it. You said it right there. It is emotional. It is spiritual. It is connecting with God.
But you're saying it too. I'm looking at your reaction to that question. You're saying it. You're feeling it. What did you go through?
Well, Bailey went through a similar journey, and moving my family back to North Carolina. I've had similar epiphany, and it's come through surrender, and nothing matters more than providing and protecting my family and being a good leader for them. And that's essentially who Jeff is as well. So yeah, I guess I didn't pick this role after all. I guess he picked it for me.
Hey man, I got nothing but love for you, because it's really a real man who says, I can be better, I can do better as a husband, as a father. And while we're talking about a movie, I think we have two brothers here talking to each other about what it really means to be all of that and more beyond the film, beyond our roles as you being as a very successful actor. You've worked with various people who have gone on to win Oscars, and I pray that one day you do the same. You've worked in some pretty incredible films, and then Chicago PD, a lot that you've done. What got you to this place, Bailey? Who is Bailey Chase?
First off, thank you. Thank you so much. And I wish you the same. And what got me to this place? Again, I can't, he does all things through me. So I can't really take credit. I wish I would have had a little heads up that, 20 years ago, that this is where we were going to be today. I wouldn't have stressed out so much. But again, it takes what it takes, right? And it happens when it happens. And so I'm so blessed to be here now. And my wife just, traveled back this morning, and it was so nice to be able to share this with her and to be away from the kids for a minute and just have some one-on-one time. And we just had our 12th wedding anniversary last week. And so for us to be able to hit LA and Nashville together, I couldn't ask for any more. So just sitting here in gratitude in my hotel room here in Nashville, and thanking God.
Hey, I'm thanking God with you and for what you're doing, you and your wife and your family. Congratulations on your 12 years of marriage, and keep going strong, my friend. Look, I've got to ask you one final question before I let you go. And first of all, I want to wish you the best for the Christmas holiday and the coming new year. And of course, with the series Homestead that will be coming out, I want people to go see the film. Go see the film. It's called Homestead. And Bailey is in it. You got to see him. He's great. But more importantly, I think you're finding out that he's just a great, humble brother living life. So what's your hope for America?
My hope for America is that we all see the light, that we all come together. What better time than Christmas to celebrate the birth of our Savior? That's it. And thank you, Kelly, for being an angel on the journey and a supporter of mine. And I can't thank you enough. God bless.
Bailey Chase, God bless you, my friend, and make sure you go out and see and support Bailey and Angel Studios in this new film, Homestead. It will really open up your mind, open up your heart, and you will thank Angel Studios and the creators of this wonderful film for having the boldness and the courage and the love to do this. Bottom line, Bailey, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Happy holidays, and go Duke.
Yes, sir. Merry Christmas. God bless. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
God bless
Kelly.
you, man.
I'll
Thanks.
see you on the next one. Okay, thank you.
All right. We're coming back with more in just a moment. Welcome back to America's Hope. I'm joined now by a guest who's returning to America's Hope. We're grateful that he is. Kevin Davis. He's quite a talented musician, and in his personal life, he's done a lot in the world of finance, but he comes to us today with some jubilant reasons for praise. He's been nominated by Broadway World, which, by the way, if you've ever been to New York City and you've gone to shows on Broadway, Broadway World is the magazine that really captures the essence of all of the Broadway actors and producers and everything that goes on. If you want to know about Broadway, you go to Broadway World. Nice plug for them. But Kevin has a wonderful musical called One in a Million Musical. It's a family musical. And just recently he did a cabaret. Well, guess what? Broadway World has nominated his production for being the best off-Broadway musical. Kevin, congratulations to you. That's quite a feat. Wanted to bring you back on to talk about that and give you some shout-outs.
Oh, Kelly, thank you so much for having me. It's good to see you again. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. And yeah, it caught me quite by surprise to be nominated. It's great to have those accolades. It sort of lets you know that the industry respects the work that you're doing. And as a believer, I believe it was the only faith-inspired show that was nominated. So, God continues to open doors. And I just continue to try and follow what he's telling me to do.
Well, that's quite a Christmas present to get that kind of nomination from Broadway World, and it only opens up the aperture, if you will, so that people can see exactly what you're working on. And to your point, I didn't realize that you're the only faith-based musical to get that kind of nod from Broadway World. So talk to me about what it was like when you saw that nomination come through, because whether you go on to actually win it or not, it's still quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, you really don't, as an artist, you really don't create art to win awards. You create art because there's something inside of you that you want to express to people and share with people. So it was my publicist who sent me an email who told me, guess what? You've been nominated as Best Director and as and having the best new off-Broadway show. So it really floored me. And honestly, I was numb at first. I was thinking, well, okay, so what do I do now? So that happened late last week. So I'm kind of just settling back into the pattern of work. I've got an award nomination, but I also have to take out the garbage. So I have to remember that nothing has really changed as we continue to sort of shape the show. And I think, which is a very perilous and dangerous time for the country I love, my country, and for the people I love, my people.
Yeah, well said, well said. And taking out the garbage will keep you humble. And humility is always so key, because that type of vulnerability allows you to be creative in ways that you didn't anticipate. You get a download from God and you're able to go out and do some great things. So congratulations, Kevin. I'm so delighted and so happy for you to have this. Look, let's talk about the musical itself. One in a Million musical, and again, it's a family musical. It's faith-based. It's been around for a while. Before and after the COVID pandemic, you've had workshop presentations throughout New York City. Your latest adaptation or presentation of it was actually done in such a way, and I missed it, I'm sorry that I did, but it was a cabaret style performance, and I love cabaret. I've had the pleasure of performing cabaret here in New York City at various places, but it's not about me, it's about you, and taking it to that level of a cabaret style performance, highlighting all of your characters in the play. That had to be so energetic and inspiring, just because of the music that you have in this. You have jazz, you have Caribbean, you have Latin. It's the type of musical that makes you want to move.
Well, thank you, Kelly. And that's what I've been told. And I just, I write the music that fits the story. And I also want to make sure that it's the music sells the message of the story. And doing the cabaret version was a wonderful challenge because basically you're doing a cabaret, but you still want the essence of the message of the story to come through. And the essence of the story, I think, gets more and more immediate every day. And the message is profound but simple. And the message of the musical, after you go through all the great music, the great dancing, the comedy, all that, the message of the musical is that if Americans continue to tear each other apart, there won't be an America to come back to. And it seems that as Christians, I'll speak to the Christian audience especially right now, although it's universal, that what Jesus told us to do was to love God with all our hearts and all our souls, and to love our neighbor as ourselves. It does not say you have to agree with your neighbor. Jesus didn't say that. But he did say that we are to love our neighbor as ourselves. And then, just because we're so slow to make the point, he chooses a Samaritan as the neighbor because he knew that Jews hated Samaritans. So you can literally say your neighbor is that person that you do not like. That neighbor is that person that you do not agree with. Your neighbor is that person that doesn't look like you. But Jesus expects us to love them and treat them like we would want to be loved ourselves. And we seem to have lost that key component of our faith. I don't hear people talking about that. We talk about everything else: left, right, center, not Christian, atheist, Muslim, Jewish. We talk about all that stuff, and I'm not dismissing any of that. But love conquers it all. And so in the show, we have a group of wacky church people who cannot agree on how to divide the $999 million lotto prize that they've just won. When the obvious choice is that everyone take an equal share, because they have that in common. So it's an allegory. What we have to share is this great country of ours. Everyone could take an equal share, but we seem to have forgotten how to do that. So we do it through music, through comedy, but that really is the point of the show. And I think that is the message that is kind of really breaking through. They say timing is everything. And I think it's on the top of the mind of most people. So I'm sure that is what really motivated the Broadway World to look at this show as the best new musical because of that message.
Yeah, the substantive value that you apply, as I stated earlier, in the music that makes you move, but it's also moving emotionally and spiritually. And then there's some powerful moments in there too, because you have these powerful ballads that you've written as well. And my understanding through telling this kind of stories, that you're able to elevate or raise the concept of greed and the dangers that come along with the love of money being the root of all evil. It doesn't say that money's bad, but the love of money being the root of all evil can really come between family members, between neighbors, between Democrats and Republicans. Oh my.
Yeah, I mean, when you really boil it down to its most basic elements, aren't we talking about greed? Isn't it greed of something that motivates people to overlook their neighbor, not to love their neighbor? I mean, Jesus knew that. He knew he knows our sinful nature. But that's why he told us to love our neighbor, because greed is what divides families, divides churches. I've seen this my whole life. It divides communities. It divides states. they fight over dollars, right? Who's going to get appropriated this amount of money? Right? We fight over everything, and at the root of it often is greed. And we have to start being honest. We need to have honest conversations about this. And a lot of times art can help people to have those honest conversations. And I think that's what this show will do. So the good news is we did such a good job last time that the space we did the cabaret in, they've already invited us back to do the cabaret performance again next year. So that'll be in August. So that's already on the calendar. And we continue to try to unite with people that can, help us get to the whole financial nut we need. Not greed, but just what it takes.
It takes money to produce Broadway plays. Yeah, it does take money.
Broadway play. So,
yeah.
So hopefully we've made we're making good strides in that area too. But the good news is we'll definitely see the cabaret again coming in August of next year.
You're watching America's Hope. I'm coming back with more of Kevin Davis next. Well, look, I hope this show helps you in this program that we're doing right now. I hope it helps some people who with a creative eye and who put money towards the arts will be able to come by and look at this musical that you've put together for the family. It's faith-based, it's entertaining, it's inspiring. Broadway World has nominated you. But let me ask you, beyond the sponsors that you're looking for, what made you get involved in this journey? You had a long, successful career in finance, and then I know you play saxophone, and you do a very incredible job playing sax. But then you got into music, and you got into writing this production. And I think what I admire most about you is your perseverance and your tenacity. You have not given up on producing one in a million musical. Why?
Well, that is a great question. Oh boy, let me see if I can condense this answer. As a kid, I started out in the arts. I had a scholarship to go to Carnegie Hall to take for theater. And there were some other famous kids around who are now household names that were in that program. But I didn't care about that. I just wanted to have fun on a Saturday afternoon. And so I left it. Then I went to college. I was the first person I started majoring in music, but I was the first person in my family to graduate from college. So I figured I needed to have a respectable career. So I left that all behind and I went into banking, finally became a vice president of corporate finance, because once you get in, you can't get out. I feel like Al Pacino in The Godfather. Every time I tried to get out, they drug me right back in with promotions, whatever. But then I started going to a small church that didn't have a big production team, whatever. And I remembered that I knew a little bit about theater. So they wanted to do a Christmas show. And I said, hey, I probably can help you out there, because I kind of know a little bit more about that than anybody else here at the time. So we started putting on little Christmas productions. And then the love and the passion just kind of came back. And when I saw kind of this unity that I was experiencing just in Christian circles, I came up with this idea. And I've actually have two other shows as well. One's in London. We're hoping to get that on the West End. And another one's in the burner, shall we say. But so it kind of came together working at that small church. The love bubbled up in me again. And that's how God is. Wherever he plants something in you, it's for a reason and a purpose. One quick story. I was at a church and I was in the band in the church, playing the saxophone in the band. And the pastor's wife came over to me out of nowhere and she said to me, now I want you to write a play. And I looked at her like she had two heads. Now, I was a good Christian boy, so I was very respectful, right? I didn't challenge her, but I'm thinking this woman has lost her mind. Why am I going to write a play? But looking back on it, I realized that God was just speaking through her prophetically in the future. She probably didn't know what she was saying either. But as I look back on that now, and I look from there to being nominated by Broadway World, it was just God speaking in the future, which is why I don't worry about this stuff, why I don't fret about this stuff. I just see how God keeps moving. So I don't know if it's perseverance. It's just faith. It's just as I stay with this, I see that God keeps on bringing people into my life, and I think this is a story that is on His heart, and He's put it on my heart to tell the story in a certain way where people can leave the theater joyously concerned about their hearts.
Well, Kevin, I want to thank you, and thank you coming on the program, and especially for a time such as this Christmas time, post-election. A lot of people are praying for a great new year, 2025. It looks like you're off to a wonderful start with this Broadway nomination that you've received from Broadway World. Congratulations again on that. Before I let you go, what is your hope for America?
Oh, boy. My hope for America is that America will learn to love their neighbors as themselves, because that will change everything. That will change everything.
Kevin, thank you. Appreciate
Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, God bless you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well. Back with my final word in just a moment. And welcome back to America's Hope. Well, it is the season to be jolly, and certainly we're very jolly here at America's Hope for having Bailey Chase stop by to talk about the role that he's playing in the new Angel Studios production of Homestead. It's a film that's out right now. Make sure you go see it. It starts December 20th. Make sure you support it and check it out. It's a post-apocalyptic look at the world. And certainly that's something we can all talk about right now, and how we get along and embrace each other. And I'd also like to thank Kevin Davis for stopping by to talk about his Off Broadway musical, 1 in a Million musical, which is a fantastic production that talks about us where we are. Are we greedy or are we needy? At Christmas time, we're a little bit of both, aren't we? Think about that. More importantly, let this be a moment that you celebrate your family, celebrate God, and celebrate hope that prevails. Until next time, America, God bless. Merry Christmas.
In my America, my children are black and white, one shade of beautiful, so precious in God's sight. In my America, all lives matter. So let's stop the chatter that tears us apart. We are a family, together you and me, agreeing to disagree, but still live in harmony. The dream that gives hope to us is as strong as it ever was. United we stand, divided we fall. That's my America. In my America, there is no left or right. We're all on common ground. Darkness gives way to light. In my America, you give more than you take. And when when someone has lost their way, you lend them a hand and say, we are a family, together you and me, agreeing to disagree, but still live in harmony. The dream that gives hope to us is as strong as it ever was. United we stand, divided we fall. That's my America. We are brothers. I'm not my brother's killer, but I am your keeper. We are sisters. The greatness of our nation starts in the homes of its people. What's in your house? We are family. Together, you and me, agreeing to disagree, but still live in harmony. The dream that gives hope to us is as strong as it ever was. United we stand, divided we fall. That's my America. United we stand, divided we fall. That's my America. From sea to shining sea, I believe in God, I believe in you, and I believe in we.